everyone. Hello everyone. Hope my voice is fine. 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 Hello everyone. Hey Vortex, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. Hey Jimmy. Class just ended and nothing on YouTube, so saw you were on LOL. Oh, are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? The link is over here if you wanna subscribe. Is my voice alright? No noise, right? No background noise. If there is, tell me, okay? I'm just trying to fix my voice stuff. I am streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. Hey, Aaron. Good afternoon. Long time, buddy. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. A bit bad sound, but I hear you, okay? Aaron is a long time follower of the channel. He has been friends for like 2 or 3 years now. Long time. You got a bit of crackle in the background. I don't know how to fix it. I have given filters like suppressions, but I have 2 suppressions. I have 2 filters. Those are noise suppression and noise gate. Should I add something else? Hey, Jimmy, you subscribed. Is that you, Jimmy? Thanks for the sub. Thanks for the sub. It's only there when you talk. Oh, not Twitch. Okay. One second, let me check. Thing. Yes. How is it? It's good. I hope it's better. Anyways, I'm gonna start my stream. Let's play some Fall Guys. So how have you been good? I've been good. I've completed my masters. Now I'm trying to do my PhD. I'm trying to get into some university. It's like there are some exams I have to do. I'm trying to get a teaching job somewhere, teaching position or some job in like industries. So that's the update. How are you doing? Like, how's your son? Is he good? Can only stay 30 minutes. Need to return to my pizza. I got got pizza. Very good to hear. Thanks, sir. So what are you up to? We can play like planning to stream sometime soon. I'm good. Work has a lot, so I'm busy. Oh, it's wondering a lot. That's good. My son is doing good. Starts school in September. He's full head taller than the other kid. Oh, that's nice. How old is he now? He's like 4, right? He's a big boy now. He's 4, 5 in November. Big boy now. So yesterday I watched the movie called Superman. I thought it was a great movie. First half was a bit dialogue heavy, but overall the second half the action is good, and the chemistry between Superman and or Lois Lane is extremely beautiful. You can say that they love each other. You guys hear something in background? I'm chewing some sugar cane. It might be a bit loud. What are you up to, Jimmy? You're eating pizza? A bit like frozen pizza? Not yet. Not frozen. Take away extra, no? Take away. Yeah. Take away extra. Little bit cheaper than the real restaurants because they don't have like the people. People just go there and take away the food. Basically, it's like a cloud kitchen. Frozen only on Sunday. Is it? Like on Sunday, is everything closed in Finland? Ah, but not which load. So Sunday, they just close at 7. Oh, yeah, that's 10 on weekends, weekdays. Need to put need to put my coffee in the cup and have to clean machine so it is okay. So like what I appreciate it in the stream. Oh, we lost sound for 30 seconds. Back now. So how was Raslila's stream? What was she talking about? A bunch of stuff. It got wild in and then and Arsis Ivani with her peace doctor. The last talk was CXD Deepfake and Guru. So Deepak means the Deepak from the streams. He streams on Tik, right? I was half rich before got paid 1600 euros for 20 days at work. A lot of overtime and stuff. So, but AHD, but had to spend 532 euros on some stuff that was imp. So 1100 on the account now. So back to saving after next Friday. I feel poor now. Oh, you spend a lot. There's a lot of money over here. Now I'm eating pineapples. So how much is your rent? Mm-hmm. 75 on token and Minecraft account for Lucy. My Sri Lankan JF2 streaming and had. Oh, oh. What's token? Let's take that on Discord. I don't want to get Twitch now. Okay. Yeah, talk about that in Discord. That would be nice. Why not Twitch fan? Just the word NFSW was censored, I guess. don't even know what's the full form of that word. Send on code. Okay, I will see it. All paid in basic words. Experience online because bank does not allow me online out of you. Got scammed invested. So no thanks to you. Send you a message on this phone. She is crazy about studies, class to Z, every video from. Asia is crazy about studies, class 0:30 in the morning. Here they would suit if they tried. Oh, that's it. Hmm. What is 0:30? I didn't get it. Right. Midnight? Oh, talking about those classes for today. Oh no. Any music on stream? Found a banger finish bullet, so you can send it over here. I can play the music on Spotify. Did you send it? Spotify link if you can. That to my. Oh, Jimmy, send it to my Discord, not in the chat. Lord. Why do you always send it out?
Hello, cabaret. Your bling and sway, your bright display. It isn't every day you get to have your way. Cheers and hoorays, here to a brand new day. A brand new day of running with the wolves who never understand the reason for the circumstance. Always is the way the story goes. Most will never comprehend till they're in the very predicament. Oh, cabaret. Now, this is everything I've seen. Just such a taste, diamonds and spades. Come home, dancing on my grave. All my choices made, judging me for how I played. I hand you down, stains the blood that flows. First will never comprehend till they're in the bed. But to come that's all. wash away doubts of my convictions. Come here, be my slave. Don't keep me waiting. Let's say a prayer.
Back. Your obvious sounds a bit hella mess up now. So
That's just the way
we hear chunks of. Do you hear chunks of the song or I hear it fine. Let me check.
right, my love. Hello, cabaret.
Oh,
Hope you enjoyed your stay. This little soiree.
I need to fix it. Fix it by next stream.
All overlaid. Sang and played.
This today's
Brand
day.
new day. With the world.
Spotify. I get it why it's happening now. I'll fix it once after this match.
Silence whispering to me. Only I hear of memories I wish to live once more. Memories I hold most dear. In the light of dice, beyond beyond what I'm allowed, I glimpse the spurs of runaway sighs before they flicker out, and I long to sleep eternally, peaceful in my release. Free me at last of my promise to stay alone, to go beyond the horizon. I'll follow where love has gone. Twilight finds me here alone. Beyond the horizon, I see your love shining. Oh, my ghost light, my afterglow. My light, my soul surviving rain. There's darkness
Is it
still
little better now?
hugs me. Flirting with my weary soul of age beyond my years. My our wishes flow in rivulets, scarlet in the night, in pools of staring emptiness, drowning in the tide, and alone to sleep eternally, peaceful in my release. Free me at last on my promise to
It's
stay
better now what he's working
alone,
this
to go
and
beyond the horizon,
English
following all hearts go.
We can do a thing. We can go on Spotify. I think we can play songs. But
Beyond the horizon, follow where love has gone. Twilight finds me here alone. Beyond the horizon, I see your love shining on my ghost light, my afterglow. There are those who have become lost in the darkness and found hope. Those who have surrendered to the fires of tribulation and been reborn. Those who can illuminate the history of our time to come. We call them
oh, what's the last song though? It was good. Nice song. I like it. These are English song, right? Not in Finnish language. I thought it was like on Finnish language. It's good. Finnish language book
I
from
think it's funny, but it seems to heal me. Seems to take the weight of the world right off my shoulder.
interesting, right? One thing I
When you
have
look
found
at me with a
Canadian
smile,
book,
I feel stronger. You show me a world of truth will never falter.
other countries do here.
When I'm feeling so alone out here, and freedom means I am lost. When every day leaves me patching up my wounded pride, you reignite my lust for life.
Okay.
I think it's funny, but it seems to deal me a better hand the cards to play this round of poker. A full house with a pair of aces and soldiers. When your kiss on my lips still cools and smolders. When I feel so alone out here, and freedom means I am lost. When every day seems a slow motion suicide,
How's the voice now?
you reignite my lust for life. Though the ships run aground, you can still come around. What is lost may be found, safe and sound. And on the sorry go round, don't know which way we're bound. What is lost may be found, safe and sound. Ain't it funny how it seems to heal me? Seems to take the weight of the world right off my shoulders. When I feel so alone around here, and means I am lost. Still every day I keep the faith that it will be alright. You reignite my lust for life. In the moment between breath and dying, you're free. Fear not. Fire dance and flame It's a game of all of Every man that there's a You should always question the answer. It was 7:47, we were on our way to heaven in a race car to the start. With the city ablaze and lights embracing us. We never thought to worry, cause we only thought of glory, and we trusted our lucky stars. So we never thought mere seconds would betray us. Though we saw a true in the bright youth, ghost of light come shining through. In the dark blue, in the breath they flew. Silent were the sounds of yesterday. Treading on sacred ground again, like a single arrow ray, showing us the wounds we both sustained in our sacred pain. Too silent for the sounds of yesterday. Nothing I do, nothing I say will ever turn the rising tide. In the vein of fever dreams,
You know that Wolves from
we never said we're sorry. In the pattern of the story, one more death by time. All the pain of missing out on that final rush. Till we run through before we knew what it was we left behind. Hunting ghost lights, all the white lights through. Silent are the sounds of yesterday. Treading on sacred ground again, like a single arrow ray, showing us the wounds we both sustained and our sacred pain. Silent for the sounds of yesterday. Healing softly sigh. The sounds of yesterday. Let them heal our wounds. If I close my eyes, I can see you. Oh, I can see you close enough to touch. A heart lay, dare to dream you. Oh, lest it be too much. What what's the moral of the story when I only see us fighting? Energy to the starry sun never sounds in yesterday. I'm treading on sacred ground again, like a single heaven ring, showing us the wounds we both sustain in our sacred pain. Till something goes This is a requiem for the harlequin, the great pretender crashing down with style. Here's to the fall of man, fame to dust, fortune to sand. The great surrender finally arrived. This is our requiem, love's a harlequin. Wake up, your chains are porcelain. Like a phoenix from the ashes, we will rise again. This is what the requiem loves to hear you sing. To the beat of your fool-heart ever-ring. One more time, we'll cry into the night again. This is a requiem for the comedian, the one used to deftly dodge in time. You caught a sparkling gem, never heeding the warning of the silver glint of knives in hungry eyes. This is how the requiem loves a harlequin. Wake up, your chains are porcelain. Like a phoenix from the ashes, we will rise again. This is what the requiem loves to hear you sing. To the beat of your fool-heart ever-ring. One more time, we'll cry into the night again. Whoa.
Other than that, this song was very sad song also by Poets of Song. Joey Williams. Does he still have the work? And why did Kai left the Kelly server?
Tell me,
Something
can
happened.
you let it go? Wrong you can undo. So how does it feel now? Tell me, can you let it go? Wrong you can undo.
Why did Kai left?
This is how the requiem is the harlequin. Wake it up, this heart of porcelain. From the ashes we will rise again. This is what the requiem loves to hear you sing. To the beat of your full-out hammer. One more time, we'll cry unto the night again. This is how the requiem loves the harlequin. Wake up, your chains are porcelain. Like a phoenix from the ashes, we will rise again. This is what the requiem loves to hear you sing. To the beat of your full-out hammer. One more time, we'll cry unto the night Hello, cabaret. I love your bling and sway. Your bright display. It isn't every day you get to have your way. Cheese and rain. Here's to a brand new day. A brand new day of running with the wolves who never understand the reason for the circumstance. How is this the way the story goes? Most will never comprehend till they're in the very predicament that it's all. Hello, cabaret. You're like a rainy day.
You heard this one? It's also from
In
Forest
my
of Fall,
headlights, staring bleak.
from the game Makes
Beer
Pain Blue. I
cans.
love the song.
Deer's eyes on the asphalt underneath our crushed plans and my
I
life
heard this one lot of
on
times.
the street
When I was a kid, I used to play it, and
side
it's one of my favorite songs.
flashing by,
Date Goodbye.
and we keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye. It's a late goodbye. And we keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye. screaming stop signs, staring while lights keep on flashing, flashing by, and we keep driving into the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. And we keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye. The devil brings from ear to ear when he sees the handles.
He was
Points at
singing
your
that.
flame and hair, playing hide and seek.
I like the song.
I can't breathe easy here, the sun trails go behind us. Till in the John mirror you stare at yourself grown old and weak. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving into the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye.
So,
In my headlights, beer cans, deer's eyes on the asphalt, underneath our crushed plans and my lies, lonely street signs, power lines, they keep on flashing, flashing by, and we keep driving into the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye, and we keep driving into the night. It's a late goodbye. Your breath hot upon my cheek, and we cross that. You made me strong when I was feeling weak, and we crossed that one time. Screaming stop signs, staring wild eyes keep on flashing, flashing by, and we keep driving into the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye. The devil grins from ear to ear when he sees the hand he's dealt us. Points at your flaming hair and then we're playing hide and seek. I can't breathe easy here, the sun trails gone cold behind us. Till in the John mirror you stare at yourself grown old and weak. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving to the night. It's a late goodbye, such a late goodbye. We keep driving to the Listen, 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 brother mine. She says just a small faith is the thing you want to lay it wrong. Cry in the dark, want hear the you hear the 7 wonders to take our breath away. What is left in your hands when your pictures fade? Voice in the desert, calling your name to be heard. Don't confuse wisdom with thought.
Yeah, I put the harder song into pack and then going out to switch pizza back. Okay.
Brother, I am not more than what you
Listen
can
to the
see.
song.
My mind is the tide, churning the waters beneath.
Hey girl, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, buddy? All good, thanks. That's what they were doing. I'm playing some Fall Guys. I feel good. I'm trying to get some wins today. But like no luck yet. Trying to win 3 games each game. Yesterday I won 2 games. What are you up to, guys? What are you doing? Playing Fortnite or streaming? मेरा दोस्त है।
How we get so many. Welcome back to New. New Rockstars, I'm Eric Voss, and this is a scene-by-scene breakdown of everything you missed in Superman, the 2025 film written and directed by James Gunn, the launch of the new DC universe starring David Corenswet, Nicholas Hoult, and Rachel Brosnahan, a movie packed with Easter eggs and easy-to-miss details. As you may have seen in my review, I loved this movie, and I'm so excited to share the hundreds of reasons why. Spoilers ahead, and welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a scene-by-scene breakdown of everything you missed in Superman, the 2025 film written and directed by James Gunn, the launch of the new DC universe starring David Corenswet, Nicholas Hoult, and Rachel Brosnahan, a movie packed with Easter eggs and easy-to-miss details. As you may have seen in my review, I loved this movie, and I'm so excited to share the hundreds of reasons why. Spoilers ahead, and look up, I'm wearing our Doghouse of Solitude shirt design, available exclusively in our merch store, nerdriot.shop, along with other Superman-inspired designs like this Super Kiss shirt. Getting one of these as a gift for yourself or for a loved one is a great way to support New Rockstars. Please and thank you. And this video is sponsored by Yamava Resort and Casino. We'll tell you more about them later on. Okay, the film opens with the DC Studios title card, with Superman breaking the chains. This animation also preceded the 2024 Super Slash Man Christopher Reeve documentary and every episode of the animated Creature Commando series. Superman is shown in his original suit design from Joe Shuster's 1938 Action Comics #1 cover art, with the S emblem with a yellow border and trunks so shaded in shadow that they initially appear all black, though we should note Shuster did not add the black field to the emblem until Superman #4 in 1940. This is also the design inspiration for Max Fleischer's 17 Superman animated shorts from 1941 to 1942, but the hair and face of this Superman is thinner and more penciled like Shuster's original design. Both visual takes on the character were key components to the DNA of this movie. Our opening shot shows Antarctica, a barren, icy tundra. Now, traditionally, the Fortress of Solitude is in Arctic ice, but more recent comics, like the post-crisis 1989 Action Comics Annual #2, established the fortress to be in Antarctica. James Gunn and his crew shot this in the Adventdalen Valley in Svalbard, Norway. We hear the classic opening trumpet notes of John Williams' Superman theme from the 1978 Richard Donner film. And even Richard Donner said that he edited that film in a way so that the score sounded like it was enunciating the words Superman. So by resampling those notes here, James Gunn and composer John Murphy want to put that name in our heads. But then John Murphy's music does something interesting. It transposes John Williams' theme to an electric guitar. Dun, 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 dun. Normally, John Williams' anthem is performed in C major, but John Murphy decides to go with D major instead. Why does he do that? Well, this might be because D major is also the same key as Harold Faltermeyer's electric guitar solo from the Top Gun anthem. And you could say with this movie, James Gunn is kind of trying to revitalize the Superman brand the same way Joseph Kosinski did with 2022's Top Gun Maverick. And based on what I'm seeing, he has succeeded in that. Text on screen establishes some critical exposition. 3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings, known as metahumans, appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. 3 years ago, the baby, now grown, announced himself as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Baravia from invading Jarampur, sparking controversy around the world. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer of Baravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost a battle for the first time. So, Gods and Monsters is the name James Gunn chose for the first phase of his DC Studios slate when he announced his plans back in January 2023. The director, best known for Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, had also directed the 2021 The Suicide Squad for DC and then the Peacemaker spin-off series, both of which led to Warner Brothers hiring James Gunn and his longtime manager and successful producer Peter Safran as the co-heads of DC Studios in October 2022. They were tasked with rebooting the DC franchise after the DCEU Zack Snyder era, overseen by the outgoing Walter Hamada. And this Superman film, at one point titled Superman Legacy, is the first film as part of that new DC universe. Now, in that text, you'll note a recurring theme of the number 3, and this feels like the kind of way the obsessive Lex Luthor has analyzed Superman in this movie, using a scripted repetition of 3 as part of like a slideshow presentation to show how Superman has been a game changer to human society and how he's trying to neutralize him. Now, Lex Luthor doesn't know that Superman was raised in Kansas, but I also wonder if the recurring number 3 could just be a loose nod to the importance of the DC Trinity, of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. The silent peace of Antarctica is broken when Superman crash lands in the snow, battered and bleeding fleeing from a battle with Lex Luthor's Hammer of Baravia. His arrival here tells us that he fled Metropolis because he was too wounded to continue fighting, and he knew that he needed to be back in the fortress to recharge, but he couldn't make it all the way. So we begin this movie in medias res, and there's no flashbacks to the past 3 years or to Superman's youth. It's a bold choice, but James Gunn felt that we had seen Superman's origin as the last son of Krypton enough times to know what that origin was. Gunn has also said that we don't ever need to see Martha Wayne's pearls falling to the ground ever again, suggesting that in his DCU, we won't get a classic Batman origin either. Superman in this movie is played by David Corenswet, a Philadelphia-raised Jewish actor known from roles in Twisters and The Politician, and like Christopher Reeve, graduated from Juilliard. Superman here lays in a fetal position. He was a baby when he arrived to Earth in Kansas, and it's also similar to Yamcha's death pose meme from DBZ, but also in James Gunn's recent cameo in Rick and Morty Season 8, it ends with him getting shot on a rooftop on the Warner Brothers lot and bleeding out in the same pose. Since this is a reboot of Superman, we notice right away how the bright colors of his suit contrast against the blank white canvas of the ice. All right, let's talk about the suit. Right away, the red trunks are back, baby. After their absence in the 2011 New 52 redesign of the character in the comics and in Zack Snyder's DC films. James Gunn and Zack Snyder, believe it or not, folks, are actually pretty friendly with each other. And Gunn said that he asked Snyder how he could ever make the trunks work, and Snyder said that he could never figure it out. But James Gunn and his costume designer, Judiana Makowski, decided to go with the trunks anyway, because Gunn and David Corenswet have stated that originally in the comics, Superman's bright red trunks and the big ol' S chest emblem were meant to be a little corny by design, so that this godly powered alien wouldn't frighten children. And so that's how they leaned into it. It actually informed their entire take on this movie. This new Superman suit has a cape with a yellow emblem on it, which reminds us of the original Christopher Reeve design. This also appeared on Superman's cape in the 2005 All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, that both James Gunn and David Corenswet list as a primary comic inspiration for this story. Not in terms of plot necessarily, but in the tone of it. Another detail on the suit is the new chest emblem with a yellow border that evokes the 1940s Max Fleischer design and the yellow border from the Earth 1 Superman. The S is formed by just one thick diagonal line, a shape that comes directly from 1996's Kingdom Come art by Alex Ross. The suit also has a slightly raised collar, inspired by the New 52 relaunch of the character from artist Jim Lee. Jim Lee is now the head of DC Comics publishing division, and in a crazy coincidence, both he and James Gunn lived in Manchester, Missouri as teenagers and saw Richard Donner's Superman at the same exact theater, the Des Paris, on the same exact opening weekend in December 1978. It would almost be destiny that they would be leading the two parts of DC's brand. Superman coughs up blood and a tear beads in his eye. It's a startling image to open a Superman movie with, but this immense pain immediately humanizes the character in ways we're not used to seeing. Coughing up blood would also mean his lung is punctured, making the whistle he's about to emit especially painful. In the distance, snow powder kicks up, and here comes Krypto. Krypto, aka Superdog, first appeared as a companion to Superboy in Adventure Comics number 210 in March 1955. See, the planet Krypton actually has parallel evolution, resulting in dogs, cats, birds, and simians, and Krypto was a canine companion to the toddler Kal-El on his home planet. Jor-El sent out Krypto first as a test pilot in a prototype rocket before they sent out Kal-El, and Krypto's rocket was knocked off course for years until eventually landing on Earth to be reunited with a teenage Superboy. Now, in the 1980s, DC wiped Krypto from their main continuity in an effort to make a more grounded Superman, but the dog remains a beloved figure and proudly returned in recent comics, and so he shows up here. Now, Krypto has advanced smell and advanced hearing, so Superman's whistle can reach Krypto from any place on Earth. Krypto also has human-level intelligence, with his thoughts being represented via speech balloons. James Gunn based Krypto's behavior in this movie on his rescue dog, Ozu. Ozu destroyed Gunn's home and his shoes, his furniture, a laptop, but he's still a good, sweet pup. Over the years, Krypto is usually depicted as a white dog of generic pedigree, but for the visual reference, they use this dog named Jolene. Gunn's VFX team used a similar process on what they used for Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. A real animal reference used for some takes, but for close-ups, an impressive VFX render. Like, the VFX on Krypto in this movie are seamless. Krypto looks so good. Krypto wears a yellow collar with a Superman shield emblem medallion. This collar holds up Krypto's red cape, which stays perfectly draped on Krypto's back, more than any cape actually would on any dog. But Kryptonian fabric does defy Earth's gravity in unusual ways, and it is a movie. It does look better this way. Krypto pounces the crap out of Superman, and they mixed in some comic booky thwacks on some of the hits. Superman says,
Krypto, take me home.
yeah, Krypto is it's just a Superman character we haven't seen enough, because past filmmakers might have thought he's too silly to be in the super family in a movie, and I think watching this we see how silly that notion was. Krypto's presence in this movie shows that David Cornsweet's take on the DC icon is the hero we didn't know that we needed, and part of that humanization is what's revealed in the final scene. It's not even his dog. He's really spending this whole movie dog sitting for his cousin. I mean, what's more of a relatable experience than that? Krypto drags a face-down Superman by his cape up to the Fortress of Solitude as its ice pillars burst out of the snow. The sudden explosion of these pillars is just stunning to behold. The whole look of the Fortress of Solitude actually originated not in the comics, but with John Barry's designs for the 1978 Superman film. Previously, it was like a cave carved into a cliff, opened by a giant key. The look of the ice columns was since adopted into comics canon. The door of the fortress is the shape of the shield, and the fact that it opens automatically tells us that there must be something in Kal-El's DNA. I love the little VFX details here. Clumps of snow drop from the ice pillars as they rise, and when Krypto barks to open the door, when the door opens, his tail wags. Krypto drags him inside, and he's greeted by his robots. These are the Superman robots, taken directly from the 2011 animated film All-Star Superman, which was based on that comic run I keep mentioning. But in the 2011 animated film, the Superman robots help Superman around the Fortress of Solitude, and they lend a hand during his fight with Solarius, where many of them get destroyed. The four that greet him are number 4, voiced by Alan Tudyk, longtime voice actor and live action actor who voices Clayface and Dr. Phosphorus in James Gunn's Creature Commandos series. There's number 1, voiced by longtime Gunn collaborator Michael Rooker, who plays Yondu in the Guardians movies. Number 12, voiced by Grace Chan, and number 5, voiced by Pom Klementieff, aka Mantis from Gunn's Guardians movies. We also hear some Kryptonian language in the background. And as we see, these are the voices of Kal-El's birth parents from Krypton. His father, Jor-El, played by Bradley Cooper, another Guardians actor returning, and Lara Lorvan, played by Angela Sarafian, who played Clementine in Westworld. In past Superman stories, the Kryptonian language is made to sound like English, but here, James Gunn uses new extraterrestrial linguistics for the alien culture. This serves an important plot point later as Lex and the Engineer decipher the translation, but also underscores what James Gunn has said about this movie being an immigrant story. Superman comes from a place where people speak a different language. Number 4 says he put on this recorded message from his parents to soothe Superman, but since it was damaged in transit from Krypton, the message glitches and gets cut off. At the end of this movie, Superman will be soothed by recordings of love from his true parents. But this part of the message translates to, "We love you more than heaven, our son. We love you more than land. Our beloved home will soon be gone forever. But hope vitalizes our hearts, and that hope is you, Kal-El. We have searched the universe for a home where you can do the most good and live out Krypton's truth, and that place is Earth." And then the rest is cut off. And I love the phrase, "we love you more than land," because it suggests that their word for Krypton is just like what translates to land. And the way that in certain cosmic stories, the word for Earth is Terra, which is like a derivative of our word for land. They do a medical report, realizing he has 14 fractured bones. Number 5 says he has damage to his kidneys, his bladder, his large intestines, and yes, his lungs. Now, since Superman draws his power from our yellow sun, the robots use a magnifying device to amplify solar radiation and focus it on him, and we hear those bones and organs shifting and setting during the rapid healing process, which, yeah, must be quite painful. And I love how the whole Fortress of Solitude rotates during this process to face the sun like a giant sunflower. While Superman is recovering, we see that the engineer, Angela Spica, is hiking through the snow to locate the fortress. So the only reason the Hammer of Bravia and Lex allowed Superman to retreat was so that they could find out where the fortress was, so that they could later mine this fortress for Superman's embarrassing secrets. The engineer in this movie is played by Maria Gabriela de Faria. The engineer is a character from DC Comics with a shape-shifting metallic body. In this movie, the character has been injected with nanites that allows her this ability. She works for Lex Luthor, and de Faria has actually implied a kind of work-wife sexual energy between the two, but that was really just how she played it. Superman, now recharged to 83%, argues with the robots over letting Krypto wreck the place. He makes the pups stay behind as he blasts off right back into the fight. Now, this movie doesn't make us wait too long to get into the flight imagery, and it really delivers. James Gunn partnered once again with cinematographer Henry Bram, who also shot Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and The Suicide Squad, and in this movie is using a combination of the Leica Tri-Elmar lens, which allows in-shot shifting among 3 focal lengths of 16mm, 18mm, and 21mm. He paired this lens with the Red V Raptor, which is a large format cinema camera. Bram also is using a StableEye Nano, which was really devised for his work in 2021's The Suicide Squad, but an earlier version of StableEye was used in Sam Mendes' 1917. So really, this is what gives the movement such a smooth fluidity, and the lens allows for intense focus on David Cornsweet's face as he emotes his urgency to get back into the fray. All of these pieces of technology come together to give this Superman film a different look than what we are used to seeing, that some of you cannot help but see as just artificial or rubbery or warped, but others are appreciating as bright, hyper-focused, smooth, and kinetic. Some are also complaining about peripheral stretching on like Superman's boot in the preceding scene to try to claim this is all AI or VFX mistakes. No, Gunn's mission is to emphasize the surreal and the fantastical. It isn't just in the dialogue and the costuming, it's in the technology he uses to compose these shots. It's meant to feel like a comic book come to life. Now, since James Gunn had the high bar of the 1978 movie's tagline of "You will believe a man can fly," and all the groundbreaking special effects that Richard Donner's team to make us believe that Christopher Reeve was actually flying, James Gunn could not let the flying in this movie look bad, and he said that one of his mistakes when he was shooting Adam Warlock's flying this way in Guardians Volume 3 is that it was hard to show the impact of the air on the face when they're flying at super speeds. So with this movie, they did do a little VFX animation on David Cornsweet's hair to better sell the fact that he was flying. Superman flies past the camera and his chest emblem fills the screen, giving this movie its title logo. Back in Metropolis, the Hammer of Baravia declares to innocent civilians that the country of Baravia will not allow Superman to interfere in its affairs. So Baravia was first mentioned as a fictional European monarchy in the DC world, consumed in a civil war all the way back in Superman number 2 in 1939. In this film, that is in an armed conflict with another country, Jarhanpur. So Jarhanpur comes from Justice League America number 62 in 2002, a country ruled by hereditary ruler Rama Khan with roots 3,000 years back and connections to Atlantis and Aquaman. In recent weeks before the events of this movie, Baravia moved to invade Jarhanpur, and Superman interfered with that, which has led Lex Luthor to partner with the leader of Baravia, President Gurkos, into this ploy of dressing up Ultraman as the Hammer of Baravia and making it seem like Superman's interference had a blowback effect on everyday Americans in Metropolis. Since it is Ultraman under that armor and a Superman clone, he has the same heat vision that Superman does. He uses this heat vision to attack an office building, and if you look closely in this conference room, it's a pitch meeting for an advertisement for Choco's Cookies. That's the in-universe DC Oreo equivalent. That's the favorite cookie of Martian Manhunter. You can see their logo on the screen on the far left, and the wall is covered in giant sandwich cookies dancing in a wave of milk, and the creative exec has a pointer pitching storyboard art for a commercial where apparently a Choco cookie rises like a sun or maybe forms a solar eclipse, and you can see slogans like "Taste of Happiness," and they all have bottles of milk that they're using for taste tests. Seems like part of this meeting is to try to get the alien Martian Manhunter to be the spokesman for this solar campaign. Now, everything the Hammer Baravia does and says is pre-scripted and played from a command center in Luthor Corp Tower. James Gunn calls the company Luthor Corp in this movie and not LexCorp as a deliberate nod to it being Luthor Corp in the Smallville series, and how that opens up a possible future storyline for us to meet a Lionel Luthor in the DCU. As we saw in JLA Comics from 2003, Lex's company building has two towers, both in the shape of L's back to back, with this central bridge that we will see later is capable of popping out as its own floating structure. For the city of Metropolis, James Gunn shot in Cleveland, Ohio, which is an important city to the history of Superman as the hometown of co-creator Jerry Siegel. And Cleveland partly inspired parts of Metropolis, though it was also believed to be based partly on Joe Shuster's hometown of Toronto. Several of the iconic parts of the Cleveland skyline are visible throughout the film, but this city has been augmented with several taller skyscrapers. Lex Luthor in this film is played by Nicholas Hoult, who played the later version of Hank McCoy, Beast in Fox's X-Men films, as we've seen in big screen takes on Lex Luthor by Gene Hackman, Kevin Spacey, Jesse Eisenberg, and pretty good small screen takes by Michael Rosenbaum and John Cryer. Nicholas Hoult plays him as a maniacal tech bro, whom James Gunn said was based on one particular page of a prison swole Lex from All-Star Superman. In this command center, all of Lex's minions are names from the comics. Sarah Sampaio plays Eve Tessmacher, Lex's assistant, and a character who was originally created for the 1978 film, where she was played by Valerie Perrine, and then the character was later added to the comics and other series. She times a selfie perfectly with the hammer throwing Superman down, which is a clue for a key plot point later. Eve Tessmacher always gets a perfectly timed selfie that Jimmy Olsen and the Daily Planet staff will use to exonerate Superman. Also in the room is Terrence Rosemore playing Lex's classic henchman, Otis, who hilariously in the credits of this movie is given the last name of Berg, making his full name Otis Berg. a reference to the joke in the 1978 film, where he added Otisburg to Lex's new West Coast map, and Otisburg as a location was later adopted as part of the DC map in the Gotham area. Stevie Blakeheart, longtime collaborator of James Gunn, back from their days at Troma Studios, and someone who's appeared in nearly all of James Gunn's films, plays in this movie Sidney Happerson. Sidney Happerson showed up as one of Lex's scientists back in Superman Volume 2, Number 2 in 1987, looking a lot like how Blakeheart looks in this movie, and then the character was killed off 7 years later. Giovanni Cruz plays Cheryl Kimball, who appeared as the head of LexCorp's Space Division in 1995 Superman vs. Aliens, and had a role in the live-action Superman and Lois series. Natasha Halevi plays Amanda Marie McCoy, another LexCorp scientist from that same 1987 issue where Sidney Happerson first appeared. Bonnie Discapolo plays Miss Jessup, a LexCorp employee from 2010's Action Comics number 892. Paul Kim plays Larry Chin, a character from 1987's Adventures of Superman number 427, who is given cybernetic enhancement by Lex Luthor to become a minor villain, the Combator. Jonah Lees plays Dean Farr, and his brother Christian Lees plays Desmond Farr. These brothers come from 1965's Tales of the Unexpected number 90, where both brothers become versions of the Tiger Men. James Gunn's reboot of Superman has us all thinking about Superman's origins. Superman made his debut in Action Comics number 1, one of the most impactful and valuable comics ever made. And now, you, me, and anybody else who cares has a chance to win their very own thanks to Yamava Resort and Casino. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel is hands down the best casino in California and the only AAA 5-diamond casino hotel in the country. We took a New Rockstars company retreat there recently and we had an incredible time. We had a ball at the casino and also had some truly phenomenal meals at the Pines Modern Steakhouse. The hotel rooms were fantastic and the staff were incredible, and there were also so many awesome side quests like the Y Lounge, Yamava's Theater, Serrano Spa, and the Hidden Cigar Lounge. And of course, Action Comics number 1. I got to hold this, of course, with its protective sleeve, and I had to wear gloves, but I got to hold it, and it was like holding a piece of history. From now until August 5th, you have a chance to win your very own Action Comics number 1 by playing at Yamava Resort and Casino. You must be 21, and there's more details available at yamava.com/newrockstars. But there's really only one question you need to ask yourself. You in? Thank you so much to Yamava Resort and Casino for sponsoring this video. Learn more and start planning your trip today by going to yamava.com/newrockstars or by clicking the link in the description below. These operatives all oversee different drone cameras that follow the Hammer and Superman in their fight and control different motor functions of Ultraman so that Lex is able to predict Superman's fight pattern and match it with a perfect counter move, yelling out codes like 12C, 18A, 34B, and 8H, kind of like a video game or like a game of Battleship, and it works. Based on what we can see on the screens, 12C is grab by the throat, 1A is downward punch, which Lex will scream over and over in the trench battle later, another is for heat vision, another is for crouching over Superman and choking him, 18A is for mid-air punch, 34B is for grab Superman's cape and pull him back, 74D is grab Superman by the foot and spin him around, 44D is use that foot to toss him down. So it seems like the letters refer to body parts and the numbers refer to the type of the hit or the grab. A is for head, B is for cape, C is for throat, D is for foot. There is a moment when Lex gives one of the Farr brothers a back rub and the guy really gets into it. There's just such a creepy, sycophantic cult worship here. The Hammer chucks Superman down to the street below. Now, when he lands, you can see a sign for Moore Avenue, which is a reference to the DC Comics writer Alan Moore, who wrote Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and For the Man Who Has Everything, and of course, Watchmen and The Killing Joke. As we will see, every street sign in this movie is named after a DC Comics writer. The building behind where Superman lands has a sign for MMMA, Metropolis Museum of Modern Art, and this prominent mural art shows a pattern of birds transitioning into a pattern of planes, which is a perfect setup for Superman to crash into this shot. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. Street vendors Reggie, played by Rudy Quintanilla, and Malik Mali Ali, played by Dinesh Thiagaraja, climb down to help Superman get back up from the crater. Lex's drone cameras record how Mali gave Superman free falafel once for helping him, one of many details that Lex's team will store and use to devastating effect later. We follow the Hammer of Bravia back to a Luthor Corp campsite, where a tent contains a portal to an artificial pocket universe, with a second portal inside that universe that leads directly back to Lex's command center, where we realize it is Ultraman under the armor. This idea of pocket universes was already established for the DCU in season 1 of James Gunn's Peacemaker series, when Peacemaker keeps his gear in what he calls a quantum unfolding chamber.
How is it so big in this place?
It's a quantum unfolding storage area.
It leads to a dimensional nodule outside normal space.
The idea of Pocket Universes actually first appeared in DC Comics back in 1986's Crisis on Infinite Earths as part of the Time Trappers' plan to control the legion of superheroes after the Superman of Earth 1 was folded into a new Earth reality, resulting in a new history in which he had never become Superboy as a child. This was around the time when Krypto and Superman's past as Superboy were just removed from what would be considered the main canon. So in the comics, a Pocket Universe was more of like an independent private dimension where a whole history unfolds. Here it's more of a localized endless storage area created using quantum mechanics, but it could lead to some more complex quantum mechanics that James Gunn could explore in the future. So Ultraman, also known as the one-worded Ultraman, and not to be confused with the Japanese character, is a Superman villain with a few different forms. He's known for a U sigil and for being kind of an equal counterpart to Superman, not like Bizarro exactly, but in many forms he is powered by kryptonite. He's not powered by kryptonite in this movie though. So the next day, Superman is now as his Clark Kent persona. He weaves through the busy pedestrian traffic, late for work, but this is all a performative act by Kal-El, who ratchets up this clumsiness as he gets closer to the Daily Planet office in case Lois or the other staff members are looking out the window. I really appreciate the choice to give Clark curly hair when it's in its moppy form, as it justifies why a single curl would be left on his forehead as Superman. Clark's work suit is a size too big to hide his Superman suit underneath, and yeah, maybe it's just David Cornsweet and Christopher Reeve sharing the experience of physical comedy training at Juilliard, but this whole performance definitely goes past the glasses. He's got the messy hair, the ill-fitting suit, the awkward posture, just the walk of a man who barely knows where he's going. From constantly bumping into things, he's struggling to maintain eye contact. No one would catch on to what Clark's been up to with this physical performance. And if you think about it, all of these performance details also add to the idea that this Superman must be really thoughtful, as it would take a wealth of concentration and observation to maintain this act over any period of time. He's constantly thinking about how not to hurt anyone or how not to disrupt anything at basically every moment he's living as Clark. He rushes into the Daily Planet building on 44 Concord Street, which sits next door to a place called the Wooded Duck, a cocktail bar. And listed above is a sign for fresh handmade cupcakes, red velvet, coconut, and lemon. And of course, there's the large Daily Planet iconic Loeb lantern hanging above the doorway. And this globe also rests on top of the building. Now, they shot this at the front of Cleveland's Leader Building, a 15-story high-rise building located at 526 Superior Avenue near East 6th Street. The doorman is reading the article that Clark published about himself from the day before with the headline, "Hammer of Boravia creates havoc downtown. Superpowered mystery man damages Metropolis." The text of the article reads, "Metropolis was targeted by a superpowered mystery man on Sunday, resulting in over $20 million in damage to the city. The self-titled Hammer of Boravia attacked downtown Metropolis, claiming it was retribution for the recent political interventions in Boravia by Superman. This vengeful expedition turned into a terrorist assault on American soil, hospitalizing 22 Metropolis citizens. Boravia has been the source of numerous headlines worldwide in recent weeks as it invaded its neighboring country, Jarhanpur, only for the brief war to be swiftly ended by Superman. The president of Boravia, Vasil Gurkos, remains the Hammer. Boravia is not a representative of the national government, but rather an independent vigilante." There's also a lower headline on this front page reading, "More than 40 tornadoes confirmed during recent outbreak." Outside this building and inside the office, we see flags for the city of Metropolis, which established this city as being founded in the year 1646. The Daily Planet's globe-top tower actually makes it into the city's emblem on the flag. Now, we know from other background flags that Metropolis is in the state of Delaware in the DCU, which would place it directly across the bay from Gotham City, which is in South New Jersey. James Gunn confirmed that in the DCU, while there are cities like Metropolis and Gotham, Star City, Evergreen, Central City, there are not cities like New York City. There must be, however, a Washington, D.C. Now, while he does commit to the awkward Clark movement, Superman in this movie is using hypno glasses, which actually comes from Superman number 330 in 1978, when it's established that Superman actually uses a form of super hypnosis in combination with his glasses to make it so that when someone looks at him while he is wearing the glasses, his face just looks different in their eyes. It's kind of silly, but it's often the go-to comics logic for why his co-workers don't recognize him under the glasses. That is, if you don't just buy the performative aspect. Superman later hints at this with Lois.
But the glasses.
And Green Lantern Guy Gardner goes into it a lot more with Lois in the Hall of Justice.
How do you even know Superman anyway?
I just do.
So you know about the hypno glasses?
Now she does.
Well, I'm not saying who he is, just that he wears hypno glasses. They make his face terrific. How do they work? They make his face look different in your brain when he wears them so that you know who he is.
Yes, I know this.
So you know he's Clark Kent.
Why does he trust everyone?
He doesn't. Just us, because we are also of the cloth.
Of the cloth?
So it's not clear if this is Superman's own Kryptonian tech via the robots, plus part of his powers, or by Guy asking Mr. Terrific this if Mr. Terrific helped build these for Superman. But when you watch Cornsweet enter the Daily Planet, notice how the glasses do droop on his nose as he doesn't need them to see, and he tilts his head down to avoid eye contact when he passes his boss Perry White. Editor-in-Chief Perry White is played by Wendell Pierce from The Wire, and played a role as a congressman in Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts this summer. With the cigar in his mouth, he turns and gives Clark a look that matches the look he gives Superman at the end of the movie, like he's so keen of a journalist that no hypno glasses will fool Chief. The coffee that Clark carries is from Jitters Coffee. Jitters, or CC Jitters, is a coffee shop in the DC universe known as a stop favored by The Flash in Central City. In the news bullpen, there's a broadcast from News Network Sphere with comedian Michael Ian Black playing a pundit host named Clevis Thornwaite, complaining about Superman getting involved in international policy. When James Gunn started shooting the film in early July 2024, Michael Ian Black tweeted James Gunn asking if he could be in the movie, and I guess James Gunn got back to him saying sure. Clark first passes sports columnist Steve Lombard, played by Beck Bennett. The character of Steve Lombard was based partly on Ted Baxter from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, with his physical appearance based on Broadway Joe Namath, which Bennett evokes here with that thick mustache. While Steve mocks Clark for using too many adverbs, he is a total Superman stan. He wears a Superman lapel pin. In the photos over his desk, there are numerous images of Superman among the sports photos, including the iconic Superman for Tomorrow issue by Jim Lee, showing Superman with his leg perched on a gargoyle. Clark gets a call from his foster parents, Martha Ma Kent, played by Neva Howell, and Jonathan Pa Kent, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince. Yes, Jonathan Kent is still alive, despite many of you perhaps assuming that his death was a major canon event from the 1978 film and 2013's Man of Steel. In the original comics, both the Kents die right after Clark graduates high school, but in the post-crisis continuity, starting with John Byrne's run in 1986, both parents were alive well into Superman's adulthood. This was until Brainiac kills Jonathan Kent in Action Comics 870 in 2008. Then in the New 52 reboot starting in 2011, the Kents were killed by a drunk driver after dropping off Clark at prom. Years later, that was revealed to be Dr. Manhattan meddling to see how Clark would turn out without their guidance. Finally, in the DC Rebirth continuity since 2019, they have been alive and well again. The way the edit cuts off Beck Bennett as he shouts, "Ma!" back to Ma Kent shouting into the speakerphone on the farm. It's just so damn funny. Steve asks if they're gonna be grilling some chitlin, and he doesn't even know what chitlin is, but Cat Grant chimes in saying it's intestines. I just like how everyone who works at the Daily Planet in this movie just has a decent range of journalistic expertise. Cat Grant is a gossip columnist of the Daily Planet, played by Michaela Hoover. Throughout the newsroom, we can see monitors showing streams for GBS, that's Galaxy Broadcasting System, the DC in-universe news service. We saw that in Creature Commandos. Jimmy Olsen celebrates with Clark having a front page story. Jimmy is played by Skylar Gisondo, and he gets a running bit in this movie about him being an inexplicable ladies man. And I guess inexplicable is up to you. He is a very charming person. On Jimmy's desk, you can see a photo of Superman waving at the camera, probably a photo Jimmy took, but there's also a photo of him macking it with two women. Two interns flirtily wave at him.
That isn't one of them.
Very funny, Lois.
Oh my god, he's so fine.
I mean, it's not just that all these women are so into Jimmy, it's the fact that he's just so unfazed by it. He's just so used to it. I mean, I think my man is packing some heat. On Clark's desk is a jar of peanut butter, which is a reference to Clark having a jar of peanut butter on his desk in Superman for All Seasons. And then on his board is a little poster for the Mighty Crabjoys, the in-universe band that he tells Lois that he loves, and he has a poster up in his Smallville bedroom. The Mighty Crabjoys also show up on a billboard in Peacemaker Season 2. We meet this movie's Lois Lane, played amazingly by Rachel Brosnahan, whom you should know from The Marvelous Miss Maisel, plays the star reporter with a dogged curiosity and no tolerance for bullshit. She returns from the coffee station with the Daily Planet mug, which you know she filled with sugar. Behind her, the GBS broadcast has a chyron. Towns flooded following extreme weather might be connected to the tornadoes mentioned on the Daily Planet front page beneath the folds. The walls of this newsroom have murals depicting a linotype printing press, old-timey living room radios, and the dawn of television. So the Daily Planet is depicting the evolution of the way the public has gotten their news. There's also a screen that shows the members of the Justice Gang in the background behind Lois, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner Green Lantern, and Kendra Saunders Hawkgirl, whom we will meet a bit later. Lois prods Clark on how he gets so many one-on-one interviews with Superman. Jimmy says,
I think it's pretty obvious the goal was kicking Superman's ass.
He didn't completely kick Superman's ass.
Pretty thoroughly, Clark.
I love how deep Cornsweet's voice goes on that line. He's using his big boy Superman voice. On the TV, we see an address by Baravian President Vasil Gurkos, played by Zlatko Buric, who played a Russian oligarch in that disaster movie 2012. Gurkos is actually the name of an obscure tyrant from Wonder Woman comics who rules rules the moon of Phobos. Onto the Pentagon. Lex Luthor is presenting to a gathering of the Secretary of Defense, General Mori, played by James Hiroyuki Liao, and General Rick Flag Sr., Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones in the MCU and voiced a version of Rick Flag Sr. who looks different in the animated Creature Commandos, rather like a muscular James Gunn if you ask me, but I'm sure this shift in appearance will be explained when Flag comes back in Peacemaker Season 2. There's also Florence Crawley, who is now director of Argus. Tanashi Kaisi Bolden returns to play the character after appearing in 2021's Suicide Squad, and Luis R. Hernandez plays Albert Tyler, an attorney general in the DC Comics. Lex pitches that the Engineer and Ultraman and Lex's army of armored warriors called Raptors, who wear the green and purple armor of Lex's Lexbots from the comics, are all part of what he calls Planet Watch. Lex wants to use Planet Watch to lock up all metahumans, starting with the most dangerous of them, the alien Superman. Attorney General Tyler brings up kryptonite and says as far as they can ascertain, there is none left on the planet, to which Lex says he has a workaround, referring to what he's going to do with Metamorpho. But the question here is, what happened to the fragments of kryptonite that would be on Earth? I can't imagine any other metahuman or vigilante would have helped get rid of kryptonite, because they would have needed it as like a potential security measure against an alien metahuman they don't know that well. So perhaps it was a joint measure by Kal-El and Kara using the robots that went on a mission to sweep it all off world. Or maybe it was all collected by someone like Maxwell Lord and he has it all. Or maybe Batman has it all. Lois comes home to find Kal-El sans glasses cooking dinner for their 3-month anniversary of dating. They kiss, but Lois grills him for the ethical issues of her interviewing himself, so he offers to let her interview him right now. He says,
"Let's do it, Cronkite."
Yes, referring to the great journalist Walter Cronkite, which means the DCU shares some overlap with our own world, as was the case with the Donnerverse of Superman and Superman 2, where real-world journalists like Rex Reed would cameo as colleagues of Lois Lane. Making the Daily Planet feel like a real newsroom is a critical part of the DNA of this film, as Richard Donner established that setting of great 1970s journalism films like All the President's Men and Network. This whole setup here is to remind you of that classic scene in the 78 Donner Superman film, when Superman, as Superman, agrees to let Lois Lane interview him for the Daily Planet so that the public won't see him as a threat. But the twist here is that Lois knows that Clark is Superman, making the interview here less nervous and flirty and more aggressive and probing. Lois uses a Lord Tech brand audio recorder. Lord Tech is a tech company of all the hardware used by Daily Planet employees, part of the company of Maxwell Lord. There's a framed photo to the right of Kal-El that shows Lois's name written in clouds, suggesting that Superman, perhaps to woo her in the past few months, spelled her name out in the clouds. There's also a framed Daily Planet front page, probably a Lois story, with the headline, "Stag Informants Threaten International Stability." So Stag Industries is another big company in this universe, the lobby of which Superman later takes a quiet moment. It's headed by Simon Stagg, father to Sapphire Stagg, the lover of Rex Mason, aka Metamorpho, and Simon was behind the experimentation that made Rex the way he is. So maybe Lois' story was about how some whistleblowers at Stagg, maybe even Rex himself, blew the lid open on something so big it disrupted all of the company's international dealings. And Stagg, in retribution, could have had Lex lock up Rex in that Pocket Universe prison, and that's why Rex was already there. Lois asks if Superman, after stopping the Baravian tanks, met with Vasil Gurkos, and Superman said he did, and flew him out in the desert and placed him against a cactus. Lois says that Jaranpur doesn't have a great history of leadership, implying that its hereditary leader, Rama Khan, had some time as a villain in the past with the likes of Aquaman or Wonder Woman, since those would have been the older metahumans on Earth. This scene goes on for 12 minutes. It's 10% of the movie's total runtime, but we don't really feel it way down the movie. It's so good, and it's so real and raw between the actors, and Lois's gotcha questions are just so rapid fire and unrelenting, while David Cornsweet goes from being comedically defensive to angrily defensive.
People were going to die.
Then Lois shifts the subject to social media.
You've gotten a lot of heat on social media lately.
I don't read that stuff. Superman doesn't have time for selfies.
Superman won't say where his cradle ship crash landed because Smallville, Kansas would help any of his enemies find his parents' farm. Since they've only been dating for 3 months, it seems like Lois doesn't even know about Smallville, because when she meets his parents later on, that's the first time they meet. We also learn how Superman is particularly triggered by the hashtag #supershit. We later see that that was written by Lex's monkeys. James Gunn's history with social media definitely plays a role in this movie. From 2007 to 2012, James Gunn had a reputation as like kind of a punk rock horror filmmaker, provocateur on social media, who would often make very inappropriate jokes. He stopped doing this around 2012. He apologized for it, but then in the summer of 2018, James Gunn came under new fire from alt-right trolls for James Gunn's political posts, and those accounts dragged up his past tweets, which then led to him being fired by Disney and removed as director of Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was very premature, as it was a politically targeted attack for things that James Gunn had since apologized for. behavior that James Gunn had since corrected. So this firing was followed by an outpouring of support by Gunn's collaborators, including a signed letter by the entire cast of the Guardians films. Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana even went in person to Marvel and Disney begging them to reconsider, but Disney held firm. And in that gap period, Toby Emmerich at Warner Brothers, who worked out in the same gym right next to Peter Safran, would turn over to Peter Safran and go, James Gunn, Superman, James Gunn, Superman. And this was at a time when no one was quite sure what the next steps for the DCEU would be, but James Gunn refused the Superman offer, but he did say yes to directing another Suicide Squad film for DC. Then Disney came back to James Gunn and reinstated him as Guardians director in spring 2019. James Gunn was able to finish his Guardians trilogy for Marvel, and at the same time was having a lot of success at DC with the Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker spin-off series, which led to Gunn and Safran being hired to run the studio in October 2022. James Gunn has said that had he not had that dramatic experience in summer 2018, getting pilloried on social media and nearly losing his entire career for these past mistakes, he would have not been able to write this Superman script the way he wrote it. Even now, there is a number of weird cultists who refuse to move on from Zack Snyder's era of the DCEU, who are constantly attacking Gunn at every turn, rooting for this Superman movie to fail, clinging to conspiracy theories that every person who likes this movie is a paid shill. So that's just some context for the joke James Gunn makes in this movie about where these kind of angry tweets come from. In Antarctica, Lex's Osprey jet lands with himself, the Engineer, Ultraman, and Eve in a splendid Snow Bunny outfit. Lex doesn't tell the others how he activates the Fortress of Solitude, but his secret is that Ultraman is a Superman clone, and this fortress reads the DNA. The Superman robots confront them, but the Engineer goes to work, shifting her nanites into these spinning buzzsaws and hacking them to pieces. At one point, she does this insane handstand and reassembles her body right side up. Krypto flies in and pounces, clawing her face, showing that underneath her skin is no blood, it is just nanites. But the Engineer smothers the poor dog with nanites that he helplessly tries to paw off, setting up the Engineer's plan to do this to Superman later in the film. Reportedly, there was a shot that was removed after test screenings where Ultraman would have punched Krypto, but audiences hated this, so Gunn took it out. Lex goes over to the controls.
I can't stand the metahumans, but he's so much worse. Superman. He's not a man, he's an it.
I love this little gesture that Nicholas Hoult does throughout the movie, where he like sucks his teeth against his gums. It's just such a good gesture of disgust. Lex insists on calling Superman an it, and you might have caught that every time the Engineer has reported Superman's movements, she calls him an it. What Lex does here pulls from Mark Waid's 2003 Superman Birthright storyline. That arc recontextualizes Superman's origin story and features Lex Luthor learning some shocking facts about Kryptonian history that he then distributes to the press and hopes that they will turn against Superman, and he sells the fearful public on a Kryptonian invasion of Earth with this kind of Ozymandias-style false flag attack of a giant kaiju attacking Metropolis. Now, Lex's kaiju in this movie isn't him claiming it's from Krypton, it's really just a tactic to keep Superman distracted and away from the fortress while the Engineer hacks the computer files to fix and translate the corrupted video recording of Jor-El and Lara. So you could say that what we learned about Krypton's imperialist ambitions was James Gunn stealing this from the Viltrumites of Robert Kirkman's Invincible. The truth is that Kirkman's Invincible and Mark Waid's Birthright arc came out in the same year, in 2003. This is just kind of like a popular revisionist thing that a lot of comics were doing at the time. Either way, learning this about Krypton is a very, very big deal, and we'll be unpacking it more. But that night, Otis and Sydney park a Vincenzo's handyman van at the marina and release this little baby fire breather kaiju that's designed to rapidly grow. This little thing looks like it might be based on a creature called an axolotl, but it's only ever called a kaiju in this movie. We cut right away to the next day where a brave little dog barks up at the giant foot of the now giant kaiju.
Get out of here!
So in the background of this plaza, that modern art sign displays an exhibit, Light Machine or maybe Night Machine by Freeman and Johnstone. Aha, this is a reference to B.P. Freeman and Jack Johnstone, the writers of the Superman radio serials from the 1940s. So that it's a bird, it's a plane detail that I talked about before, that is part of the design of this exhibit. Those two are the guys who coined that phrasing, which was then used in Max Fleischer's shorts. I love this Easter egg. We also see a billboard for Choco's Cookies and a burger stand for Big Belly Burger, which is a DC in-universe burger chain with a logo inspired by Bob's Big Boy. As the kaiju roars, we also see a billboard for Zesty Cola, which is a DC in-universe soda brand inspired by Pepsi. We saw a can of Zesty earlier on Sidney Saperson's terminal. There's a street sign for East Jurgens Street. Dan Jurgens was the writer and artist known for the Death of Superman storyline, who created characters like Doomsday and Booster Gold. Superman uses his super breath to blow the doggy out of harm's way. Behind the tree that it hits, there's a popsicle stand labeled Apricot City. Metropolis in the comics is referred to as the Big Apricot, as a reference to New York's nickname of the Big Apple. Superman gets crushed under the foot, but then he burrows under the ground and bursts out, soaring around to slam the kaiju in the face. And you'll notice his chest emblem once again fills the screen. James Gunn actually does this a total of 3 times in the movie, in Act 1, in Act 2, and in Act 3, each time when Superman rallies after being knocked down. As Superman hits the kaiju, you can see a billboard for Metropolis Children's Hospital, and there's a large broadcast screen showing another Sphere program. The host now is played by Lawrence Gilligan, who also played a reporter in the animated Creature Commandos. I assume it's the same character. There's also a sign for a Big Belly Burger and 8, which I've assumed is a musical, kind of like 6, a musical that's about the wives of Henry VIII, but maybe this could be about Henry VIII himself. 8, kind of like a Hamilton-style historical musical. In a nearby shop, there's this guy eating yogurt. He's played by Zingu del Rosario, who has worked as a stuntman on DC titles like Black Adam and Shazam Fury of the Gods. On the TVs, there's this GBS broadcast with this pretty funny Chiron, Thing attacks Metropolis, still growing. But another fun Easter egg, you can see a business card tucked in on actually all of these TVs, Quietly and Sons. This is a nod to Frank Quietly, the artist who made All-Star Superman with Grant Morrison. The kaiju breathes fire into an office building. We see later when Superman flies upward, this is the Lord Tech building, the building of Maxwell Lord. It seems like Lord didn't deploy the Justice Gang until his building was attacked. Superman asks one of the employees if they're okay, and when they nod, I love how Cornsweat just gives this sweet smile, like he's genuinely relieved. He tells the kaiju,
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Love it! He flies so fast the camera can't even keep up with him and follows him up into the sun, blinding us and blinding the kaiju so that this beast won't see him when he drops back down to whack him. Superman then has to save a fleeing woman from getting crushed and tells her to take deep breaths, smiling again to reassure her. I just love how throughout this battle, his priority is keeping everyone from getting hurt. Everyone, even the thing he's trying to bring down. This mission gets complicated when the Justice Gang arrives, starting with longtime James Gunn collaborator, starting from 2006's Slither, Nathan Fillion, playing Green Lantern Guy Gardner with his classic bowl cut from the comics, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, Kendra Saunders with her wings and her mace, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific Michael Holt with his floating chair and his T-spheres. Let's take them one by one. Kendra Saunders was a 1999 reintroduction of the Hawkgirl hero as a young Hispanic woman, later clarified to be Cuban, who had taken her own life. When Kendra's soul left her body, the soul of her great aunt, her grandfather's first cousin, Shira Hall, the Hawkgirl of the DC Golden Age, that soul entered Kendra's body, making Kendra what's called a walk-in. Originally, this era of Hawkgirl wore bandages on her arms as a reference to the self-harm, and that feature went away, but you do see this movie's Hawkgirl wearing bracers. Her armor and her tech and her mace weapon are made of the Thanagarian nth metal. But the character might be a bit more complex because according to Isabella Merced, she said this, by the way, quote, Kendra is reincarnated from an alien. So she has all those memories. The story is actually really dark. It's so fucked up that I wonder how they're going to handle that when it comes to addressing that. So based on that quote, I think the suicide backstory is still going to be part of it, but it also seems like James Gunn might have merged the third Hawkgirl, Kendra Saunders, with the second Hawkgirl, Shayra Hull from the Silver Age, and later Hawkwoman. She was the alien Hawkwoman, the Thanagarian. So I don't know. Meanwhile, Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific, was born a genius who got 14 PhDs, but suffered tragic losses of a mentally challenged older brother and later his wife and unborn child after arguing with his wife about going to church because he didn't place faith faith in the supernatural. He's a self-made millionaire with a tech company called Cyberware, and in addition to his T-spheres, his T-shaped mask is actually composed of nanites. And of course, he wears this iconic jacket with fair play on the sleeves. He's really the best dressed person in this film. And I just love seeing Eddie Feige getting some major redemption in this film after appearing alongside Nicholas Hoult in 2011's X-Men First Class as the character Darwin, a supposedly indestructible mutant who gets inexplicably destroyed very early in that film. Guy Gardner as a character was originally introduced as an alternate Green Lantern to Hal Jordan back in 1968, who in the New 52 continuity was retconned to be a former Baltimore police officer who was forced off the force due to some incident. The three members of the Justice Gang are wearing matching suits supplied to them by Maxwell Lord, with JG on their chests for Justice Gang, but are also the initials of James Gunn. The Justice Gang go to work on the kaiju while Superman rushes to save all the people and creatures who nearly get crushed because they don't care. This includes adorably a squirrel, and they used a real squirrel for this shot. They kept it in a clear plastic case. The kaiju stomps on a truck full of these canisters that explodes near an unsuspecting girl whom Superman rushes to save. Just the fact that this girl is wearing this particular dress with the knee socks reminds us of the little girl whose cat Superman saves in the 1978 film, but just this shot is so incredible. It might remind you of a few things. Of course, there's the shot of Clark in the opening titles of Smallville. You know, somebody say! There's also this panel from Action Comics number 1000 in 2018 by Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason when Superman saves an unsuspecting kid by stopping a train feet away from him. Also, check out the labels as those canisters fly past the girl. That looks like a C within a D, so like DC, and it looks like these contain the noble gas of argon. Argon, like krypton, is considered one of the noble gases or inert gases, and it's used in welding and lighting and food packaging, 3D printing, and other industrial processes. Outside of the baseball park here, you can see a street sign, Ross Avenue. Alex Ross is the artist behind Kingdom Come, whose version of Superman inspired the design of Superman's chest emblem in this film. Actually, all the street signs throughout the film include references to comics writers and artists that we've been talking about in this video: Jim Lee, Grant Morrison, and Mark Waid. Also, Jeff Loeb, who worked on a ton of major comic storylines for DC and Marvel, including The Long Halloween, and later went on to oversee Marvel Television during the Netflix era. Superman bashes a kaiju on the head with a water tower that explodes, which has got to be a reference to the iconic Warner Brothers water tower. In the middle of this fight, we cut to an on-the-scene reporter who reports on the Justice Gang. This is real-life ABC News reporter Will Reeve, son of Christopher Reeve. The Justice Gang go over the kaiju's eyes, Kendra trying to jab the eye with her mace and then getting her arm caught in the eyelid and nearly getting blinked to death. Guy uses his ring to conjure a green mouth harness at one point, and then this kind of jackhammer device to pummel the kaiju in the eye. Eventually, they bring it down with a few exploding T-spheres in his stomach that tear apart his guts, sending him crashing to the ground. Afterwards, Superman is sad they had to kill the kaiju and wishes he could have taken it to an intergalactic zoo. Actually, the Fortress of Solitude in the DCAU does contain an alien zoo. Up on the news screen, though, a Sphere broadcast shows Clevis with Lex, and the headline, Superman sent on mission to destroy us. Lex confirms the world's top linguists and computer techs have validated their translation of Jor-El and Lara's recording, which now includes the second half. The people there are simple and easily confused, weak of mind and body and spirit. Lord over the planet as the last son of Krypton. Dispatch of anyone unable or unwilling to serve you, Kal-El. Take as many wives as you can, so that Krypton's might and legacy will live on in this new frontier. Do us proud, our beloved son. Rule without mercy. Lex jumps to some fear-mongering conclusions that all of Superman's kind acts are really just him grooming them to prepare for his superpowered descendants to rule the Earth, and that he might already have a secret harem. I mean, the only man with a secret harem in this movie is Jimmy Olsen, am I right? Jimmy watches this broadcast with the rest of the Daily Planet staff in the office, along with the other columnists from the comics in this movie. Not really any lines. Ron Troop, played by Christopher McDonald. In the back, behind Steve Lombard, are cameos by Superman co-creator Jerry Siegel's grandsons, Michael Larson and James Larson. Superman trudges through an angry mob. Someone throws a can at his head. Now, in the first teaser, Superman flinched at this, but after some people complained, they changed the shot so that now he doesn't flinch, which I think is a good change for a number of reasons, specifically because Superman isn't just kind of an emotionally shocked state. Superman goes into the lobby of Stag Industries for a quiet moment. Why this building? Well, I think it was just the closest quiet spot to the park, but this is the building of Simon Stagg. Guy, Kendra, and Michael follow him into the lobby and ask if it's true. Guy says if so, Superman is exactly the kind of alien that he was commissioned by the Green Lantern Corps to protect Earth against. So yes, Guy is not the only Green Lantern. There's a whole corps of them, and we're gonna meet Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler, and John Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre, in the Lantern series coming to HBO next year. Nathan Fillion will also appear in that series as Guy, and he said that that he's gonna have a lot of F-bombs. Superman rushes back to the Fortress of Solitude, worried about his robots and Crypto. The Leica Tri-Elmar lens really warps his outstretched arms on this flight, but it actually plays really well with the desperation and the speed Superman must be flying with. Meanwhile, the Daily Planet scrambles to confirm this information, and we hear Perry snap at Jimmy, "Don't call me Chief." That's a nod to the exchanges between Perry and Jimmy in the 1978 film, where he keeps having to bark, "Don't call me Chief," and then at one point he accidentally says, "Don't call me Sugar." President Gurkos dances on Superman's reputation's grave, and then goes into his private office, where we see he has his own portal that pairs with Lex's pocket universe. Lex and Ultraman have brought him a donut from Doe's Holes, a new donut shop in Park Ridge. Park Ridge is a borough in suburban Metropolis in the comics. Lex says he wants to open a Doe's Holes in his half of Jaranpur. Superman finds number 4 glitching and stabbing himself in the head. The robot dies. Superman whistles for Crypto. No response, meaning that Crypto must not be anywhere on the surface realm of this planet. Superman zips back to Luthor Corp Tower, where Lex is in his office with Clevis.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be.
Lex, I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog?
The dog, loser! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog in a cape.
What did you say?
If you look closely, on Lex's desk is a framed photo of Mr. Handsome, the creepy ferryman who shuttles them around the pocket dimension. He loves this creeper so that he has to look at him every day on his desk. The mug that Lex sips out of and uses to mask him saying "ugly dog with a cape" has written on it Space Lex, presumably Lex's space travel venture, and a clear nod to SpaceX, making Lex a pretty clear Elon Musk figure. Back in Clark's apartment, the Sphere program on the TV shows Clevis interviewing John Cena as Chris Smith, Peacemaker. He talks some major shit on Superman and Superman's no killing rule, and makes a comment about Superman being jealous because he's not as jacked as Peacemaker is. The reaction on this shows that Peacemaker is a much bigger character than he thought he was. It's also the first big screen appearance of Peacemaker in any movie, because technically the 2021 Suicide Squad was a streaming release and Peacemaker was only on HBO. As Superman and Lois chat, a battle rages in the background of Metropolis as the Justice Gang take down what Superman calls a dimensional imp. This is an example of a screenwriting concept from Save the Cat called Pope in the Pool, where dialogue is conveyed while something visually weird is happening in frame, which we get as Guy Gardner conjures a big old green bat to bonk this imp, and eventually its dimensional blood bleeds, filling the sky with beautiful swirling colors. Lois in the scene says that she was a punk rock kid from Bakerline. Bakerline is a middle-class neighborhood in Metropolis. It's actually the neighborhood where Lex will later allow the rift to spread to. Superman claims to be punk rock too, saying that he likes bands the Stranglefellowes, the PODs, and the Mighty Crabjoys. The PODs is actually a deep cut to James Gunn's former life as a punk rocker in the late 80s, playing with bands called the Icons, Mom, and the Pods, or PODs. The fact that Superman calls them the PODs is just kind of a funny joke to where he's only ever read their name and doesn't really know what they're called. Or I just assume that James Gunn kind of went through a Wonders versus Oneaters thing, where when he would play as this band, people didn't really know how to pronounce their name. Lois makes fun of him, saying that he thinks everyone he's met is beautiful, and Superman says, maybe that's the real punk rock. It's kind of a corny line, but I love it because he's saying that there's even beauty in people as evil as Lex Luthor, and that all lives are worth maintaining. Hey, I love this movie, and surprise, surprise, a certain number of folks are just convinced that no one is able to authentically enjoy anything, accusing us of being paid shills. We actually went deep into this subject in our Danger Room podcast, part of a new audio-only podcast subscription service called NR Underground, where we do some bonus tangential shop talk. If you're interested and able to support us doing that, join the NR Underground by clicking on the link in the description. Superman says he's gonna turn himself in, hoping they'll imprison him where they keep Crypto, worried that the dog is scared and alone. This movie is full of great transitions. Here we go from this stunning shot of the colorful night sky over Metropolis to Superman's face being smashed in the pavement by Ultraman. Rick Flag Sr. joins Ultraman and the Engineer on taking Superman in through Planet Watch. They take him through the portal to this cell with Rex Mason, Metamorpho, played by Anthony Kerrigan, aka NoHo Hank from HBO's Barry. Now in the comics, comics, Rex Mason is an adventurer hired by Simon Stagg to retrieve the Orb of Ra. But when Simon realizes Rex was dating his daughter, Sapphire Stagg, he arranges to have Rex knocked out and exposed to a radioactive meteorite from which the orb was made, transforming him into Metamorpho, the Element Man, which Lex actually calls him in the scene, a metahuman who can transfigure his body into any known substance. Mr. Handsome ferries their cell through the Pocket Universe. Lex explains he replicated the Big Bang using the Luthor Corp Mega Collider to tear a hole between two universal fabrics. Metamorpho turns his hand into kryptonite and weakens and poisons Superman. Jimmy and Lois investigate Lex's connection to Baravia. Jimmy brings up a contact on his phone that he labeled Mutant Toes, whom we later learn is Eve Teskmacher, who immediately spills the tea about where Lex took Superman. You'll notice also on Jimmy's phone are names like Mary Schreiner, who actually works in the art department for this movie, and Nadia Payne. She's the unit production manager, a very, very important role on every film set. Lex takes Superman on a tour of his Pocket Universe, passing his monkey bots, generating their rage tweets, and where he keeps Crypto distracted by beaming visions of squirrels in his brain. I just love how this plays into the idea that whenever a dog is sleeping and starts doing this, we always say they're chasing squirrels. Next, he shows them where they keep the political prisoners, including Lex's poor ex-girlfriend Florette, played by Paige Moley, who wrote a blog about him. Gina compared this whole sequence to the various cubic cages and Cabin in the Woods. And it is worth noting that James Gunn is good friends with Drew Goddard, who directed Cabin in the Woods, and did advise him on some of the cuts of this movie. Lex reveals that they have Metamorpho's son, Baby Joey. In the comics, Baby Joey inherited Rex's ability to add or subtract protons from nuclei to create any substance, but whereas Rex can only alter the physical properties of his own body, Joey can do it to other objects, giving him a kind of King Midas power. Onto the Hall of Justice. I love it. They shot this at Cincinnati's Union Terminal, which is perfect because the first time the Hall of Justice appeared, it was in 1973 when ABC got the rights to DC Comics for a time and partnered with Hanna-Barbera to make the show Super Friends. And the artist on that show, Al Gamer, modeled their headquarters on this Art Deco Union Terminal in Cincinnati, a train station turned into a museum. They actually used the exterior of the building and the interior of the building. Since the Justice League presumably doesn't exist yet, only the Justice Gang, this building is still coming together. But it's going to be a big part of the DCU going forward. There's a huge mural in the background of these shots, and James Gunn teased that this tells the early history of the DCU.
There's an iconic scene with a huge mural in the background that tells you the story of metahumans in the DCU, and that's going to be really fun when we release those images to the public.
We're going to break it down properly whenever James Gunn releases a full image of it because they never show a full shot of it in the scene. But for now, we were able to spot a number of Golden Age DC heroes. You can't make them all out, but the fact even that Golden Age DC hero designs are included at all is just so fun because it suggests that in the 1940s and 50s of this world, there was an earlier generation of superheroes, part of the Justice Society that the present generation wants to try to live up to. Just so you know, the original Justice Society of America lineup included Dr. Fate, Hourman, Spectre, the Sandman, Atom, Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman. But here are the DC Golden Age heroes that we can make out. On this side, we see Silent Knight. That's Brian Kent from the 6th century of England. He might be on the far side because he would be one of the earliest known heroes historically, well before 300 years ago. I think that's Black Pirate, John Valor, seated beside those barrels. He's from the 16th century. The one who would be on the white horse, who's not in frame, but you see the horse, that could be Golden Arrow. We definitely see the original Jay Garrick, the Flash from 1940 with the red top and the helmet, whom was paid homage to in that very weird sequence in 2023's The Flash. I think standing in front of him might be Aquaman Arthur Curry with the orange top and the green pants, but I can't tell. We also see someone with yellow boots on blue pants. I was wondering if this could be Dr. Fate, who was played by Pierce Brosnan and was the best part of the 2022 Black Adam movie. But then on the other side, we definitely see Wildcat Ted Grant, a former heavyweight boxer who actually first appeared in the same 1942 issue as the original Mr. Terrific. There's a boxing ring behind him, and the one doing the handstand with yellow pants could be the Tarantula, John Law. But then there's this guy on the far right who could also be Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate, but not in his suit. Again, we will break these down once we get a clearer image of them. Kendra reads a Daily Planet newspaper with the headline, U.S. defies Geneva Convention by holding Superman in Pocket Universe. This tells us that this black hole technology was banned at the Geneva Convention of this world. Assuming Dr. Manhattan will be canon at some point, maybe his own dangerous quantum technology is what caused that ruling. There's also a portrait in the background of this floor where Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Guy are all posed with Maxwell Lord. The hypno glasses come up in the scene, and there might be something to Mr. Terrific actually helping build them, because we also learn that Mr. Terrific put nanobite trackers in all of their bloodstreams, including Superman. If Superman allowed him to do that, it might mean that they've collaborated a lot in the past. Mr. Terrific takes Lois to Fort Kramer to try to get Superman out. There's a hilarious bit where Michael's garage door opens way too slow. Lex plays a horrifying game of Russian roulette with Molly, the falafel guy, demanding Superman reveal who he's working with on Earth, who raised him as a child, and on the second question, bang. R.I.P. Molly. It is so evil what Lex does here. Mr. Terrific encases Lois in a protective shield as he and his T-Spheres wreck the Luthor Corp techs and the Raptors. A very impressive long take that recalls the Oner by Henry Bram in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, mixed with Yondu using his Yaka arrow to take down the Ravagers in Guardians Volume 2. The "Come a Little Bit Closer" sequence, but the fun song that this is set to is Noah and the Whales' 5 Years Time. What I love most about the sequence is just how chill and efficient with his energy Mr. Terrific is. Like, most of his movements are just shifting his hands and his fingers slightly to fling the spheres around, and then at one point gently lifting his arm to be carried up. He conserves his energy for only the moments when he actually needs it. Rex, meanwhile, is heartbroken over having to see Molly die, and he retracts his kryptonite hand, and I think this is a practical effect for at least part of the shot. Superman needs a yellow sun to heal, so Rex conjures the elements that go into the forging of a star. Hydrogen, deuterium, which is a stable isotope of hydrogen, also known as heavy hydrogen, and helium, and then he spins these together in a kind of centrifuge to initiate nuclear fusion, which works and produces a miniature star. Now, this whole idea of forging stars might connect to a big Easter egg that I spotted in the final scene. Now recharged, Superman punches out of the cell, and the Leica Triomar lens really showcases this. The focus goes from Superman's boot to his fist to the broken shards of glass. Superman frees Baby Joey, the Raptors swarm them, and Superman and Baby Joey fall into the anti-proton river. Now, Superman's body is able to withstand these anti-protons, and maybe Baby Joey is able to just have some of them around him because he does have this nuclei affecting ability. Raptors surround Metamorpho. One of the Raptors says, "All right, freak, nice and slow, back in the cage." This, or one of the voices of the other Raptors, is a vocal cameo by Michael Rosenbaum, James Gunn's friend who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. Rex sprays these guys with acid. Krypto spots Mr. Terrific's T-Spheres and goes fetch. Superman fends off the Raptors and flows down the anti-proton river toward a black hole. He and Baby Joey and Krypto and Rex all go into the black hole. The visuals look so stunning, and this whole existence of the black hole connects to a big theory I have for where they're gonna go back to this in the future. Superman uses his super breath and blows them all back out into safety. They escape, and Lois has to take a kryptonite poisoned Superman back to the Kent farm. In Clark's old bedroom, we see a pennant for the Smallville Giants. As Lois watches this in the room, behind her is a poster of the NASA Saturn 1B rocket launch. This image is from Apollo 1A. This was the uncrewed test flight that led to the development of the Saturn V rocket that would take the Americans to the moon. It would just make sense that Clark would have a love for space travel and rockets, as they are what brought him to Earth. Also in his room that we see the next morning, a poster for the mighty Crabjoys. Jimmy sends along the selfies from Eve, and Lois realizes that in the background of Eve's photos is the damning evidence, a map of Jar-Hunpur showing plans to divide it in half, and Luthor's plans to call one of them Luthoria. We later learn that this is the idealized country where Lex wants to create a tech utopia and make himself king, profiting off of the oil reserves. This is somewhat similar to Lex's plot in the 1978 Superman film, where he wanted to create a new west coast of the United States where he would own the most valuable real estate. I would have loved if somewhere on this map, like Sydney or Otis, could have penciled in a little city for themselves. Also on this map, north of Jar-Hunpur, you can see the country Markovia, which is another European country in the DC universe, home to Geoforce and Terra. Henry Bram now gets this beautiful shot of Krypto playing with the cows, with the dog perfectly caught in the lens flare of the morning light. There's just something so wholesome about this part of the movie that I really loved. Like, the Kent farm in this movie doesn't go for the stereotypical huge house and the barn and the grain silo all clustered together, because modern American farms in the Midwest tend to look more like this, just with the humble house and the barn being on a different part of the property away from the house. Clark laments how his birth parents sent him to Earth to hurt people. Jonathan says, "Parents aren't for telling their children who they're supposed to be. We're here to give you the tools to help you make fools of yourself all on your own. Your choices, Clark, your actions, that's what makes you who you are." They see the news on the TV. Now, this is a Luthor Corp brand TV, and I just find it funny with options like Lord Tech for consumer electronics. The fact that Lex is dying to know where this home is, part of him is already inside the home. TV reports show how the Bravian military is about to invade Jar-Hunpur, and the people of Jar-Hunpur mount a brave resistance, including these kids who raise a flag with Superman's emblem and chant his name. Rex watches this footage from his home with Baby Joey reunited with Sapphire Stagg, who's played in this movie by Louisa Krause, who, along with Anthony Carrigan, did have a role wall in HBO's Barry. On their wall is a poster for the periodic table of elements, appropriate decor for the Element Man. With the rift spreading to Metropolis, the city gets evacuated. We see everyone's bringing their pets, including one woman with her turtles. We get our one Batman reference in this movie, a road sign on the freeway with one lane leading to Gotham City, another to Queensland Park. Just a reminder that if Metropolis is in Delaware, Gotham City would be in nearby New Jersey, but Queensland Park is another one of the 6 boroughs of Metropolis. In the Daily Planet newsroom, one of the screens shows a cameo by CNN's Jake Tapper, who's credited in this movie as Jack Taper. Unfazed by the panic, Lois and Jimmy walk Perry through their research. There are some hilarious details in these selfies, one being that Eve got a selfie with Mr. Handsome and tied a floral scarf around his neck. Another, at some point in Antarctica, she got a selfie in her Snow Bunny outfit with Lex Luthor, and I just have no idea when they would have taken that selfie or how she got Lex to pose for it, but she's that good. And I love how in the scene as they leave, you get a sense of the order of Perry White's favorites among the Planet staff and how Steve Lombard is at the bottom of that triage.
Lois, you got that flying saucer deal up on the roof?
Yep.
Grant, Troop, come on.
Grab the board, Jimmy.
How many does it hold?
5 or 6. 6.
Okay. Lombard, you too.
Also, I love the joke that Lois couldn't remember if there's 5 or 6 seats in Mr. Terrific's ship, including the pilot seat. So Perry is like, sure, Steve Lombard, you can come along, just for Steve to realize he doesn't have a seat when they actually get in.
Buckle up, kids.
Why don't I have a seat?
Lois dictates the copy for the article to Jimmy to transcribe while she pilots the ship at the same time. The rift hits Metropolis, splitting a building in half and causing high rises to domino into each other. The last one right over a bridge jammed with traffic. They shot this on Cleveland's Detroit Superior Bridge. A woman's car stalls, but right at the last second before the building collapses, Superman catches it. He rises from the dust in a triumphant pose. Mr. Terrific meets up with him.
You brought that dog, man!
Superman says he didn't want Krypto eating his parents' cows. Ultraman and the Engineer tackle them onto the Metropolis Meteors baseball park, Lord Tech Field. This stadium is actually Cleveland's Progressive Field, home of the Cleveland Guardians, and this background is filled with Easter eggs because they needed to cover all the Progressive Field and Guardian signs. We see an ad for Sarayo, a nod to the film's lead graphic designer, 80 Sarayo. On the upper deck, the names of the great Meteors players are all people who worked on this movie. There's Cuevas for Paula Cuevas, assistant art director. There's Petrata for Drew Petrata, the art department prop master. Down by the field, there are signs for Metropolis Waste Management, Big Belly Burger, a sign that reads Meteors are for everyone with the word one in trans flag colors. We see Comet Airways with a horse logo. Comet is the name of Supergirl's white pet horse, who is actually a centaur turned into a horse by Cersei. Fitzgibbon, which is a name James Gunn often puts in his movies. He was the name of Meredith Quill's doctor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, and it's a reference to Gunn's longtime friend Larry Fitzgibbon. We see signs for Soder Cola, Weber Wireless, and Doe's Holes, Lex Luthor's favorite donut shop. When the Engineer flings a razor disc at Superman, it slices off some of his hair. This is an important detail because Superman is invulnerable, but he can lose his hair, and that's how Lex in the past gathered his hair follicles to source his DNA to create a clone. Superman suplexes Ultraman, heat visions the Engineer's face a bit, and then gets sucker punched when he tries to tell the Engineer that it's not too late. Ultraman flies up and kicks him in the balls, followed by a nanite blast from Angela, and now she sends a wave of nanites to fill his lungs. There's just something so disturbing about Superman trying to wipe away the nanites, and I think it's a close-up of his eye as they snake into his eyeball and cover it. I feel like James Gunn was referencing that really gross moment in Superman 3 when Vera gets tangled in the supercomputer's wiring and her screams just get silenced as her mouth is plated shut and her eyes close, and then they reopen covered in the metallic silver as the computer's taken over her body. Ugh. The nanites fill his lungs and Lex savors this moment. Superman blasts into the stratosphere with the Engineer and Ultraman struggling to keep up. They latch to his body, and it's a trick to force Angela to latch to him so that when they hit space and he turns back to Earth, they'll reach terminal velocity, disorienting Angela's control over her nanites. As they speed back down to Earth, in the bird's eye view of Metropolis, you can see the rift already spreading halfway through the city. They crash down into the subway tunnel. The impact knocks Angela out so that she cannot consciously control her nanites, allowing Superman to cough them up and yank them out. Ugh, the digital stickiness of these things is just so gross. Now, this is the last we see of the Engineer in the movie, but there is a team-up film called The Authority in James Gunn's plans that she's expected to return in. Ultraman removes his mask to reveal the face of David Cornsweet. He is a clone. Now, he's not stated to be Bizarro exactly, at least not yet, in this movie, but his messy hair and his dumb expression seems to be a vague nod to Bizarro, at least. Specifically, the way the light hits Cornsweet's big, wide eye. Superman and Ultraman brawl. The rift opens to the tunnel, and Superman snaps Ultraman's wrist. They tumble out into a convention center, and this cracked me up. The signs read Vacuum Con. It's a convention for vacuum cleaners. There were some set photos with signs around the Cleveland area showing this. CES cleaning up the city, the nation's largest trade show exhibiting the latest in engineering, servicing, training, design. So what's the joke here? Is it that Superman is cleaning up the city, or is it a possible clue that he's gonna beat Ultraman by getting him sucked into a black hole? The Justice Gang shows up to the Baravian border to help. Guy swats away the Baravian tanks with giant green hands, and some of the hands flip them off. This is a rare instance where we don't really see the green energy emit directly from the ring. Metamorpho joins him, turning his hands into a giant hammer to crush the tank. This is actually what Guy Gardner said he wanted to do earlier in the Hall of Justice. Hawkgirl grabs President Gurkos and flies him over the city, and then shows that she has no problem with killing, dropping him to his death, which match cuts with Steve Lombard dropping an antacid into a glass of water on the ship. Now, where did he find a full glass of water on the ship? I don't know, but it is a very fun match cut. When they published the article, if you look closely, you can see that Lois Lane shared the byline with Jimmy Olsen. Normally, he would only get a photo credit, but the fact that he put so much research effort and put his own romantic life on the line to get this story looks like it made what might be his first ever actual byline. Lex gives a great monologue admitting his envy and his disgust for Superman, comparing himself to historical thinkers like Einstein and Galileo, and he refers to Superman as a dopey Venusian. So after he called him a Martian earlier and now a Venusian, it's just another example of Lex deliberately misnaming what planet Superman came from. But there is a Martian metahuman in this universe, Martian Manhunter. Lex jabs his fist as he screams 1A, kind of match cutting with Ultraman's jabs. Superman smiles and whistles for Krypto, and we see how he is outsmarted, turning the tables on Brain versus Brawn. We see Krypto in a Pet It Be pet store where Krypto has devoured the snacks and toys, and so Superman, remembering Krypto's chaos with the T-Spheres, sends Krypto after Lex's drones, blinding Lex and his team while Superman is able to give Ultraman the business. Superman and Krypto attack the Raptors, punching one's teeth out, and they hit the camera, which is pretty cartoony and fourth wall breaking, but I do like it. Superman spins with his heat vision on the rest of them, dropping them out of the sky, and we get our third and final chest emblem close-up. The black hole has now opened up in the trench. Ultraman holds Superman down, but Superman dislocates his shoulder and flips Ultraman into this bus, sending all of it flying into the black hole. Now, in our Ending Explained video, I theorized that if James Gunn ever wants to make this clone officially Bizarro, he could totally build on this moment. That black hole is the same one all the cube-shaped anti-protons flowed into. Those could end up being the building blocks for a future cube-shaped Hitray that's Earth backwards, the home world of Bizarro in an alternate universe, which could now be built on the other side of this black hole. The rift now spreads toward Baker Line, Lois's home neighborhood, but Superman, Krypto, and Mr. Terrific confront Lex in the command center, and he makes a case for his true humanity and how he has made mistakes. Lex mocks his earnestness, but he gets attacked by Krypto, who thrashes him around. The media now turns on Lex. Sean Gunn cameos as his tech rival, Maxwell Lord, who says, "The one thing that liberals and conservatives can finally agree on is that Lex Luthor sucks." We'll see Maxwell Lord in the upcoming season of Peacemaker. The people of Jaharnpur celebrate. Hawkgirl invites Metamorpho to the Justice Gang, and when he likes the name, Guy is totally fine with him joining. All of Lex's prisoners in the Pocket Universe are freed. Florette is reunited with her parents. Lex's bot monkeys are chased by Krypto. The dog jumps on the uneven crack from the point of the rift that later gets focused on in the post-credit scene with Superman and Mr. Terrific. Could this messy seam be used to explain some of the quantum glitches in the DCU, DCEU Matrix in Peacemaker Season 2? Lex is taken into custody and sent to Belle Reve Prison. That's the home of Task Force X and Task Force M in Creature Commandos. Eve gets out and gives Jimmy a big old hug. Lois in this final act wears a purple sweater that I think might be a nod to the purple top of the DCAU Lois Lane. Lois and Superman step aside for a one-on-one interview, and they go into this Lacey arcade that was actually shot in the Cleveland arcade, a beautiful Victorian structure built in 1890 with a glass skylight and a romantic long take. The crane mount actually follows them as they initially rise. It's a practical shot, and I love that because it just stays close with them as they kiss, and Superman floats both of them upward. It's just so damn good. James Gunn has never made a movie that has looked this good. The final scene returns to the Fortress of Solitude. Robot number 4 is rebuilt with a gnarly scar on his face. Another robot reads a Daily Planet with a front page story by Clark Kent honoring Molly the Falafel Guy. The date on this issue is Saturday, May 24th. The newspaper at the beginning of the film with Clark's Hammer of Arabia story was actually the Monday before that, so this movie has taken place over just 1 week in May. Number 4 now wishes to go by the name Gary, which could be a nod to the character Alan Tudyk played in Santa Clarita Diet alongside Jimmy Olsen actor Skylar Gisondo. Superman's cousin, Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, played by Millie Alcock, crashes in, drunk, reuniting with her dog Krypto. Superman makes a reference to the fact that the yellow sun makes it hard for them to get drunk, so they have to find a red sun because their home star, Rao, had a red sun. Krypto sleeps beside what I'm pretty sure is a cosmic anvil and a star hammer. That's from All-Star Superman, where Superman uses this to forge infant stars to feed a baby sun eater that he has in the fortress. I go go into what to expect from next summer's Supergirl film, who she is, and why this anvil could be important in our Ending Explained video. Amelia Harcourt, actor, and Gunn's wife Jennifer Holland cameos as the voice of robot number 22, and we hear the Teddy Bears version of Punk Rocker featuring Iggy Pop, recalling Superman's chat with Lois about what it means to be punk rock, seeing the beauty in all people. We close this movie with where he got that outlook, not with the Kryptonian parents whose recording used to be what soothed him during these healing sessions, but home movies of Jonathan and Martha Kent and young Clark, specifically this one shot of Pa Kent holding up young Clark in this Superman pose. And the detail that it took me a few times watching this to realize, Superman's healing in the opening scene was so severe that he screamed in pain. So really deep down, that message from Jor-El and Lara didn't soothe him that much. But now, as the yellow sunlight fills his face, these images of Ma and Pa from Kansas just result in a calm smile. This shot of Superman with Krypto on the moon in the middle of the credits is an homage to this frame from All-Star Superman number 6. And that is everything that I spotted in James Gunn's Superman. I love this movie, and comment down below with what your favorite detail was in it. And a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Rick Denman, who supports us at the executive producer level. And thanks again to Yamava Resort and Casino for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below to start planning your trip and to find out more about how you can win Action Comics #1. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all channels in the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey guys, I'm back, but now I'm gonna stop streaming. So I hope you can hear me now. Hey, I'm back. It's a good movie, Superman. I really like the chemistry between Lois and Superman, and the action scenes are terrific in the second half, and the first half is a bit dialogue heavy, but it's okay. You need to build up for the movie, right? So it's like that. Otherwise, it's like a great movie. Let's see who I can do it. Nobody here to do it. So let's just. This is empty string. Okay, bye bye guys. See you next time.